What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Doubling Down with Colin Sheehan. It's the greatest time of the year. It's closing in on Breeders' Cup weekend. We finally get to put the talk behind us, put the pen to the paper, and get our picks out there. It's decision time, Matt.
It is indeed. No, this is where the rubber meets the road, whatever other cliches you want to add. But this is the most exciting time, the most exciting weekend, Friday and Saturday, the best horses in the world going up against each other. So much value, so many great rivalries, so many different dynamics in all these races. Thrilled to be able to talk about this with you as we kick off the Saturday Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, and it's nice we're finally getting a little collaboration here. I feel like we've been doing our own things and so much of them, and we got a great chat going. And then we finally said, let's do a couple of doubles together. So I figured I'd bring you in for the Phillies because you're a Phillies fan, and I don't know which Phillies you're going to pick today. Are you talking the horses or the baseball players?
That's a good one. No, the Phillies. I was talking to somebody the other day that said the Breeders' Cup snuck up on them. I said the Phillies snuck up on me. I did not expect to be here as a Phillies fan in early November, I should say, still rooting for my baseball team. So exciting times.
I listened to that chat, and when you said that, that's when it reminded me. I said, is he talking about the Phillies or the Phillies? I figured I'd take the advantage to do the joke when you did not. In that excellent conversation you had today, talking about the Euros. So jump over on the YouTube page, check that out. This show is only about daily doubles. We try to do some common man picks. We got some tough ones. The Saturday card is tough for someone that's doing this show with doubles because you keep running into every other race. You're running into a Golden Pal and a Flight Line and a Jackie's Warrior. So you got to find your spots. That's why I kind of recommend you to go back and watch those Friday doubles. I think that's where the value is. That's where you're going to get some prices. That's why those are much more longer shots that I have in those ones. But we'll jump right to it and go to race 3. It's the Filly and Mare Sprint at 7 furlongs for 3-year-olds and up. The favorite is Goodnight All of the 8. And as I said, you got Goodnight Pal in the next race. Are you going to just go 8-8? If you are, maybe you do a $20 or $30, right? Just flatten those two. I had trouble deciding on Goodnight Olive. What do you think, Matt? Did you add her to your ticket?
I did add her to my ticket as kind of maybe a last-second addition a little bit, but what made her attractive to me is she's a younger horse that is lightly raced, that is improving speed figures. That's a MO that I'm always a sucker for. And the other thing I like about her, there's a lot of speed in this race, and we're going to talk about how that impacts some of the other horses that we like. But ultimately, Goodnight Olive has demonstrated the ability to rate, sitting fourth actually 2 out ago. So I think she's got some flexibility there. She doesn't need to be in the lead. If they're going to burn up on the front, she can sit behind that and sit a decent run.
So that's actually why I've decided to leave Goodnight Olive off my ticket. And let me hear what I have to say here. I use Brisnet. They give you some numbers, negative on the positive, based on the pace of the races that the horse has been in. In all of Goodnight Olive's races, all of the paces, negative numbers, slow paces that been able to kind of just, most of the races, she's at the front. Where I was going to ask you, is the fast pace going to hurt her? People are saying that she's going to rate off of that. That's kind of the reason I've decided, is the pace going to be too hot and she's going to fold? She's only got the one grade 1 win in her last race. Prior to that, maidens, allowance, optional claimers. And I'm just hoping that maybe that's the reason that I can move away from Goodnight Olive and try to find some prices here. I know that me and you both have, I almost have my play of Breeders' Cup weekend in this race, and we both agree on another horse who you said before this might be your. So why don't you start with yours, which is also mine, the 7 Obligatory.
Yeah, just the pace makes the race, right? And Obligatory is a deep closer. And I think the fact that this is the Filly and Mare Sprint is 7 furlongs as opposed to the Breeders' Cup Sprint, which is only 6 furlongs. I think that extra furlong makes all the difference in the world for a horse like Obligatory. You look at this race, you see horses like Lady Rocket, Wicked Halo, Hot Peppers, Goodnight Olive. These horses, Slammed, Edgeway, all want to be forwardly placed. There's going to be a hot pace in this race. Obligatory comes running late. Last time out, I can totally make an excuse. She got body checked around the turn, just totally mugged in that ballerina handicap and still ran up for third. She's a deep closer, 8-1 on the morning line. I trust Bill Mott a lot on these big days. I think he's got a really good contingent. Huge fan of Obligatory.
Yeah, and grade 2, grade 1 wins at both. Better running at 4 than at 3, which is always something you like to see. They know that progression. You don't want to see step backs. One question I have, which I'll give credit to my old, maybe still partner, Vinny, who said, "Be careful because this horse hasn't really had much success outside of Churchill." And I went back and looked, and he's right. A lot of that main success has come over the Churchill dirt, which, as we all know, can be a little favoring, especially for someone that's horse for the course. But we both, in our very first text of let's put out the long shots, which you can check out also on our page, we're both like obligatory. I absolutely love 11 Wicked Halo. And as I said that the first time to you, I went back and looked and I started taking notes to do this show, and everything to me is just like, wow, listen to all this stuff that Wicked Halo has done. I'm going to read you this and you're going to change your ticket. All right. Wicked Halo has shown versatility, winning at 5 furlongs, 6.5 furlongs. She's won at 7 furlongs twice and has won at a mile. She's won at Churchill, Keeneland, Saratoga. She's won on the mud. She's won on the lead. She's won off the pace. She's won 4 in a row. She's won with different jockeys, and she's still improving from the spring to the fall of this 3-year-old season. To me, it was just like, what hasn't she done, and why would you not put a horse that is 10-1 on a ticket in this particular instance? She's, what do you think?
I think she's very good. Obviously, her and Gunite both, made that decision in the Asmussen barn to run these two in their respective races on only 2 weeks rest. I think that's a little bit of a potential concern that I had. The other thing is, while she's very good, at least from Bayer's speed figure standpoint, she needs to get faster. That last race only registered in 92 buyers at the Ravens run. That's going to need to be something that needs to improve if she's going to run a potential 100 plus buyer speed figure in this particular race. So she's got a lot of versatility. I like her a lot. I just wasn't sure about her in this particular spot.
She's not going to have to run faster for all those horses that
that's a good point.
You just talked about. They're going to be,
they're going to be walking home.
Clean them up, baby. I'm also from Boston, so it's the only horse I saw with the Wicked in there. So, there was another horse that's called Really Good. I said if Really Good was Wicked Good, then that would beat the Wicked Halo. But we're going to go with it.
Love it.
The other horse I considered was Frank's Rocket.
Mm-hmm.
Last horse on my ticket has the highest late pace, so a horse that's going to be running late. You talked about all that early speed. That's why I'm interested. I use Brisnet top 3 in the class, both past and now. And Bill Mott has been working this horse very consistently since August. It tells me he's kind of been pointing towards this race. The layoff may be concerned, but as you're looking at a lot of these horses, a lot of them have been off for a little while. So I've decided to add Frank's Rocket kind of at the last. I wish the 6-1 was better. I think it will be, right? I think better than 6-1 on that.
I think that number will float up, actually.
I think Goodnight All is going to take it.
Yeah, I agree. So my last pick was the 4 in this leg of the daily double, and CC. This was, of course, last year's winner in the filly and Mare Sprint. Didn't run particularly well at the Ballerina, but then went out and won a grade 3 out at Santa Anita. Again, very similar logic to Frank's Rocket in terms of good closing speed. Will not be on that hot pace up front and should be closing late. I think that's the key. You really want to avoid horses that you think are going to be sitting 1, 2, 3, I think, in this race. And while I use Goodnight Olive, I don't think that's the trip she's going to have. So that's why I felt a little bit better about using her. But my general advice to anyone betting this race is stay off the lead.
Yeah, she's also 3rd off the layoff, which you expect another improvement. The only thing that I took away was I didn't like to see she's now a 6-year-old. The numbers at 5 were much better than at 6. Mm-hmm. And I'm just wondering, is she not as good as she was in that race last year? So then we move on to the Turf Sprint, where you have the favorite that everyone in the United States loves to try and tell you is going to lose. Your best bet. Speaking of your best bet, we got some new swag here from PlayUp Racebook, our sponsors, hooking us up. Check out PlayUp Racebook. You can deposit, if you deposit $500, they'll give you $250 into your account. If you don't put in $100 before Breeders' Cup, you get another $25 wager. Free money, Matt. That's where you got to go and stock up.
Absolutely. No, gotta thank the PlayUp Racebook for supporting Trust the Profits. They're running some great deals. Make sure to go there before the Breeders' Cup begins.
So is Golden Pal your best bet?
He's not my best bet, but he is on my ticket, and maybe a little bit defensively. Listen, this horse, just when he breaks well, it's over. I mean, it's just he's so good when he breaks, and the problem that he's had in the past is he just doesn't break all the time. Especially when he goes overseas. But here in North America and at Keeneland, 4 for 4 in his career, breaks like a lightning bolt, is just so impressive. I will say, while I like Golden Pal quite a bit, I also am including Highfield Princess, who is the great European sprinter coming over. So these are the two favorites. Highfield Princess should be away well, but is a little bit more of a closer and has that devastating turn of foot. And I just think this is a better class of European than Golden Pal has faced here in the United States before. It's important to point out Highfield Princess beat Golden Pal thoroughly at Royal Ascot earlier this summer.
I decided to leave Highland Princess off. I couldn't leave Golden Pal off. It's almost like I thought of it as like home court advantage, right?
Yeah.
Golden Pal 4 for 4 here. Is taking care of the turns nicely. Highland Princess has a race at a turn or no? Is she only running the straight?
Only running the straight.
So something to consider there. I decided against your better advice to go with the other Wesley Ward in a 5.5 sprint on the turf. How can you not take that? With this 4 Campanelli, what's the advice you told me to watch out for?
It's the Kentucky Downs angle. So horses that last ran at Kentucky Downs are 0 for 26 lifetime at the Breeders' Cup. And for those people who think, well, that's just fluky, or the Kentucky Downs meet and the Breeders' Cup are too far apart. Well, if you say, how did horses run that ran at Kentucky Downs 2 back before coming to the Breeders' Cup? Well, they are 0 for 58. So if you see Kentucky Downs anywhere in the last 2 runs for horses, toss. That's why I like Campanelle. There's another horse in this race, the 12 Brand, who I know we both like as well. But as much as it pained me, I just could not ignore that stat, and I ended up tossing both of them.
Sneaky stat that I love is maiden claimers who haven't won the horse that has the most races. So those 0 for 25s, 0 for 26, sign me up, baby. I am the one that's going to break. Campanelli's going to break this for you. Wesley Ward with Frankie Dettori aboard. This horse has a win at Keeneland.
Yep.
I did take this horse off my ticket, and then I went back and looked. And again, I do rely on the Brisnet Prime Power. I think it gives me a good sense of how good is a horse compared to the next best horse. And Campanelli is top on that list. Golden Pal is 3rd behind Arrest Me Red. When I saw that, and then I saw Campanelli in the top 3 of current class and class over the last 3 races, I said I'd be cursing you if you broke the record. And I said, I don't want to curse you. I'm just going to add him to my ticket. Maybe it's a throwaway, but I'm going to toss it in there. The ticket's going to cost me $6. Your ticket's going to cost you $6 as well. This is race 3 and 4 on Saturday at Breeders' Cup. I went 5, 7, 11 with the 4, 8. Mac goes 7, 4, 8 with the 6, 8. I'd recommend if you're going to go 8, 8 in these 2 legs, just hammer it and don't listen to what we had to say on the rest of this show. Because that's how you got to play it, right? And this is a little bit trickier with some horses like Golden Pal in there. It's either you got to completely fade them or hammer them. Thanks so much, Matt. We will be back with races 5 and 6. Stick around.
Trust the Profits Breeders' Cup coverage is brought to you by PlayUp Racebook, the most horse player-friendly racebook in the industry. PlayUp Racebook is always your best bet.